The Northman is the greatest film to come out this year. With all the remakes, sequels and blandness, this movie shines. The only films of similar quality from the past few years are from Robert Eggers and similar directors. I found this to be strange because I don't generally enjoy Viking media. The closest thing to this genre I've experienced is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is not an experience I would describe as good.
What the fuck am I looking at right now? What the fuck is this?
This movie does everything possible to keep you invested in the world. The audio used in this film is so deep and full that the cinema rumbles throughout the experience. The beginning of this film, being set in the snow, was a great way to make the person watching actually feel what it would be like to exist in this world. You could just imagine the coldness of this world. I noticed that this movie likes to use silhouettes frequently. In fact, the entire final fight scene is entirely just shown as the silhouettes of the characters. The drug trip scene that happens near the beginning lets the viewer know that this isn't going to be a usual action blockbuster. Of course, Willem Dafoe is perfect in the role as a crazy person, as usual. The death that begins the plot is really great, as it makes you imagine the horrors the kid is experiencing. It's also good because it really makes you hate the uncle, so that can later be subverted when it turns out both the father and the uncle are about as bad as each other. I found that the time skip was at a good point, as it happened when the tension of the scene was at its highest, but all the danger was resolved. It also starts off during an interesting event with the group of Vikings headed towards a raid. Speaking of the raid, did I mention it's the best scene in the film? It is an entirely one-take action scene that starts at the gates of the settlement, with a violent attack where the civilians are dying and being taken away from their families by the end. After this, we get yet another trippy scene where the stakes and main plot elements are reintroduced. I found this helped people to keep track of the story without dumbing down everything. Another interesting visual choice is how some night scenes and mystical scenes are filmed in black and white, taking the amazing visuals from the lighthouse and improving on them. After the location of the villain is revealed, the film starts to slow down in terms of plot development and focuses more on the characters creating realistic relationships and the build-up towards the final fight, while the characters are kept as slaves. That doesn't mean there's a lack of action scenes, as this whole time the main character is attacking the settlements at night and discovering ways to improve the power they have so that they have a better chance at besting the uncle. One issue the film could have improved on is that of the main love interest, as I felt while they did get a lot of scenes with the main character, they never had any dialogue that had chemistry. One of my favourite scenes in the movie is a relatively simple one, but it shows the power watching a great film in the cinema has. The scene in question is where the main character seeks out a witch who describes the weapon they can use to best the villain. Now this scene may seem average, but the thing that makes it incredible is the sound. The witch is performing some ritual, and the sounds of the instrument being played shook the room, and it made me even more connected to the film. A criticism that I've seen towards this film is the lack of violence being shown on screen, but I believe this is not an issue. When think of some of those visceral horror movies, such as Hostel or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they barely show anything, and it is up to the audience to imagine the gore. An issue some critics had with the film is the length, but I feel this is the wrong way to look at the issue, because it is more of a problem with pacing than the length. A reason people may feel this is the time the film spends in the slave camp. If some of these scenes were faster paced, I feel the length would no longer be mentioned by most critics. However, some films suit this slow pace. For example, a previous Robert Eggers film, The Witch, had a slower burn, but I felt this added to the effect of the family falling apart. The issue that affects this film is the whiplash that occurs from the fast moving beginning becoming the slow second half of the film. Some of the later plot revelations I felt did not have enough of an effect on the main character to be truly impactful. The reveal also lacked foreshadowing earlier on, making it not work as well on other rewatches. I enjoy how the main character becomes irredeemable by the end, literally murdering women and children and leaving the family behind. I feel the final fight scene had the perfect amount of incredible visuals that gave me Star Wars Revenge of the Sith vibes and amazing tension. One comment I also wanted to make is on the CGI present in the family tree scenes. I found a lot of this cheap and was the only thing that took me out of the movie. Hollywood needs to give more directors like Robert Eggers a chance to create a film with this large budget, because it can create experiences like no others.
I want to, I want to, I want to, I want.